Hey everyone, welcome to Darren and Josh Make a Movie. We're gonna make a movie with you. Right now though, we're in a very cool place, a place near and dear to my heart. And that is, where are we at, Josh?
The Horror Vibes coffee shop, and it's my favorite place in North Hollywood. It's incredible.
Well, it's great because it's literally like 4 blocks from my house. And I'll tell you, my kids think I'm pathetic. I mean, I kind of am pathetic, but they really do, until one day I bring them in here because there's Saw stuff everywhere. I mean, when you come in here, they have the I Want to Play a Game Killer Crunch Bar. They also have the yellow slasher cake. So yesterday after school, I brought my daughter in here, and she
grabbed a
chowed down. She got slasher cake.
Speaking of being geeky, what's with the jacket there, dude?
Don't judge me or my jacket. This jacket was from Saw 2.
Really?
It is, and
Sorry.
Thank you. But we have a special guest today, which I'm very excited when she decides to show up. Fashionably late, as always. Yeah, we're here at the Horror Vibes Coffee Shop on Lankershim Boulevard. If you're ever in town in Los Angeles, you got to come by here. I also love the menu. The menu is just, and we'll make sure that you guys can see the menu behind us, but it is, it's great. I mean, Call of Cthulhu, Crystal Lake Chai, the Invisible Tea, and look, there's one over there from our girl herself, which is Clown Killer.
That's the first one I ordered.
That is great. We have the owners here. I'd love to speak to her for a second.
Yeah.
Oman, would you come over and say hello to our esteemed podcast listeners? Have a seat. Have a seat.
Thank you.
So wait, you have multiple locations, right?
Yes, I do.
And where's the other one?
In Las Vegas.
So you lose your money, you go to Vegas, lose your money, and end up at the Horror Vibes Coffee.
Yeah.
I love it.
How did this come about? What was the inspiration?
Yeah, I grew up watching horror films. My mom was a huge horror fan, so I have been in the horror genre for so long, and my favorite movies, like the Saw franchise, obviously.
I paid her to say that. What about Good Luck Chuck? Have you seen Good Luck Chuck? Sorry.
And yeah, The Ring, Halloween, the classics. I've been obsessed with those for so long. And I was in the coffee industry for a couple of years, and I was like, coffee shops are so boring nowadays. Let's bring some horror into this. And as someone like me, I wanted other people who are like me to have a place where they can come and enjoy horror and, have a place where they can celebrate it. And what's a place better than being at a coffee shop?
It's amazing. And the great thing about your place is there's a huge community. Like, I just love people. Every time I'm here, everyone is a fan of the place because your drinks are just incredible, but also the decorations, and it's just beautiful. It's it's gorgeous. You've done an amazing job.
Well, thank you for having us here. We appreciate it. And if you're again Los Angeles, please come check this place out. It's great. You might see us here because we're here quite frequently. There she is. There she is.
Excellent. Go.
It's so good to see you guys.
This is Josh. It's so nice to meet you. I am so psyched you're here. Thank you.
So sorry I'm late. I was trying to get here for like 30 minutes, but I just keep getting stopped.
I'm sure you're so famous.
I can't go anywhere.
Meet Addison behind the counter.
Hi, Addison. It's so nice to meet you.
First off, you haven't been here before, but look at this. It's my favorite place. I mean, because I am two of my Mr. Billy on the thing over there and Mr. Billy there.
Oh my God.
But to your left.
Oh my God. As the mask. And he signed it. Look.
Yeah, he's got like a Zook suit on.
Oh my God. I feel like they go well together. That's a nice marriage of weirdness. I feel like and in a Santa. Oh my God.
Yeah, this is pretty great. I mean, trick or treats. What do we got over here? Teen Wolf.
This hot witch. I don't want to know who she is, but I like her.
Is that trick or treats?
Is this trick or treat?
I don't know.
I don't know. Just some sex.
But you know what's great is I was here the other day with my daughter and scoping the place out, and she doesn't understand yet about like things like this. So she sees it,
Billy.
And she tried to take it down, and she's like, "Yeah, that's yours. That's yours." And I said, "What? It's not." Thank you for coming. Let's have a conversation. First,
do it.
Order a coffee. You have to order something.
Let's do it.
All right, we are back with the amazing Lauren LaVera. You shut your face and let me talk for a second. Lauren and I just worked together on a film that is going to be coming out soon that I very rarely geek out, but I reached out to a good friend of ours, Uncle Creepy, Steve Barton, who gave me your number, thankfully.
Yeah.
And I texted you, and I was like, "Yo, come meet my."
You need to watch out who you give your number to, because you could have avoided this entire situation.
I think you actually DM'd me first, but I don't check my DMs.
Oh, no, you know what happened was I originally sent you a message, not you, but I tagged you in something a year earlier. I went and saw Terrifier 2 in the theaters with a friend of mine and another actor I worked with named Tech9, who is a rapper. We went and saw it, and I left the theater and I said something. I took a picture and I said something like, I love Terrifier, but holy crap, Lauren, you were amazing, and you liked and hearted it, and that was it. Then it's cut to a year later, I'm making this movie, and I sent you about a DM. I slid into the DMs, and she ignored me.
Well, it's not. I didn't see it because I don't check. But my DMs have just gotten.
She ignored
It was not a you up kind of thing, but it was like, no, and I'm so glad you did, because there's certain people that you just connect with immediately, and I felt that like there was just no pretentiousness. It was just you were all about the art and the script and the character, and excited to work, and it was an absolute pleasure to work with you. But yeah, look, we're at a place that is kind of like a shrine to everything horror, which I love. Though the final girl that you're up there.
I'm up there as the clown killer. Yeah, my little sword is up there. I was really, really excited. I'm so honored that to be on a wall in a dope ass fucking coffee shop. Like if I lived in this area, I would never leave. I would never leave. I would be here every single day. They would know me by name. I'd probably just apply and be like, I'm not working right now. Let me just
Let me make some coffee.
Let me make some coffee.
You know what's? I had this kind of out of body experience where I went to Monsterpalooza a few years back, and it used to be that when you'd walk the floor, there was like a hierarchy of what people would wear. You always had the Nightmare on Elm Streets and whatever, but Saw was a huge contingent of it. Mm-hmm. And then almost overnight, it was Terrifier everywhere.
Yeah.
And it was it was crazy because just to be able to see the impact that film had and how quickly it happened. It took Saw, 10 films. But within literally a couple of years, the merchandise, the people that are cosplaying, the shirts, how is that for you? That is insane.
We are so, I can look at the camera, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, I just want to make sure.
Yeah.
We are so fortunate to the fans. Like the fans are incredible. And I think it's a bit different for us because it was an Indiegogo thing for Terrifier 2. So the fans were very involved and it was very word of mouth. And like, it just took off because of that, because the fans were so gung-ho about it. They were so passionate about it. How is it like? I don't fucking know. I don't understand it still. It doesn't feel real. I don't know if you guys still feel this way. Like it doesn't feel like a part of my world. Like it just feels like outside of it. It's a bizarre experience. I don't know. I'm grateful, but it's still not something I can wrap my head around.
Yeah. Oh, well, I think there's also a big difference between what we're doing, because we're all behind the camera, and your face is plastered everywhere in magazines. No, are you kidding me? I love it.
Sorry, you're gonna see it.
It's absolutely incredible. And I can't imagine what it's like. Well, when you walked in, I saw you getting crowded by a whole bunch of fans who just wanted to take photos.
I know. I'm so
We did pay those fans and all.
Exactly. I mean, no, we didn't.
For me, I think why, as a horror fanatic myself, I make horror films, but I think I would consider myself a fan of horror over being a horror director. For me, and you never know what that secret of success is, but I'll tell you, for me, what resonated was, and I've talked about this, I think on previous podcasts about this, is that Art the Clown and your character are so vastly different, where one is so over the top and comical, yet so perfect. Like David has this amazing ability to just do the most ridiculous, out of the box things, but with such nuance at the same way. And it never feels redundant. And it is a masterclass. And then you have yourself and your character that is so the emotional center and core that you never you're never melodramatic. And I think that I was most shocked specifically in 3, and I loved 2 as well, but 3, it is so centered in emotion, and these two things that shouldn't work perfectly. In the same way that why I think Jigsaw works in Saw, because Tobin Bell is so fucking good. You two together are amazing. And it's fun to watch. You guys are both fun to watch.
Thank you. Luckily for me, Dave's a good guy, and he's really easy to work with. And I haven't gotten sick of his face yet, even in his getup, even in places like this. It's always really exciting. So I'm very fortunate. He makes my job easier for sure.
Well, we're here talking about acting. I mean, with you. So Josh and I, just a little background is that Josh and I became friends during the Spiral filming. And we've kind of lamented over beers and drinks about how hard it is to get a movie made, and sometimes how unfun it is to get a movie made, the politics that go with it. And so we're kind of started this journey where we are talking to different people in the industry about filmmaking and we're trying to shape our film as we go after kind of what we take away and what we learn. In hearing that you were in town, I was like, we have to have her on, because some of the conversations you and I had on set, I mean, I think your story is fascinating. Your perspective is fascinating. Before I monopolize the conversation, because I know a lot of stuff you don't.
I don't. This is the first time we've met.
Yes.
So I'm just curious what your breaking in story was, because clearly you didn't just step onto the set of the Terrifier franchise with no back. Like what? How did you break in? What was the origin story, I guess?
Yeah, it's so weird. People always say that Terrifier was a break. And sure, I think it helped in a lot of ways, but I still am not sure if that's what you would identify it as. But I started acting, speaking of melodramatic, it's actually a melodramatic story. I started acting because my grandmother really wanted to act. And instead, I mean, she was born in the 30s. She settled down and had 6 kids. And she was on her deathbed. She was on her deathbed, and I was just next to her, and I was looking at all of her kids and my aunts and uncles, and I was like, I don't want this life at all. Like I don't want to be where she's at and not try to do the thing. Yeah. So I was an optician at the time, and I made very good money, by the way. I was a very good optician, and I loved my job. It was like high-end eyewear I was selling, like Gucci, Cartier, Dolce & Gabbana. It was crazy. Right. I was doing all right. And
do you still have a connection in that world for us?
Well, actually, no, because I burned that bridge.
Oh, by quitting?
Yes.
Yeah, I get it.
I quit, and it was actually pretty messy. And because the woman, I wish her well. I really loved her. Was trying to open a store for me to manage. Oh. And I was just like, I can't. Like, if once that happens, I'm stuck. I can't do this. So I quit very dramatically. I cried because I loved her. Yeah. She was such a wonderful boss. I hope she's okay. I cried all the way to the subway, and I went to my first acting class that same night that I quit. Like, it was very dramatic.
When was that moment? How long ago was that?
It was around 2016, 2017.
And when did Terrifier 2 come out?
I was cast in 2019. So it was 2 years after I started, and it came out in 2022.
Okay.
Right? I think. Time doesn't exist in my brain anymore. And I've been fortunate enough to be working ever since.
That's incredible. What do you look for when a script comes across your desk? Obviously you read the script that Darren was making and was excited about it. Yeah. I can imagine, especially now, you're getting probably more offers than you did 4 years ago. Sure. What makes you decide what you want to do?
Well, I will talk specifically about this script that we worked on. Paloma was just so deliciously mischievous and just layered and do
you want to tell, we've never talked about it, do you want to really quickly say, to give them some backstory, what the story is about, like what the kind of big overreaching story is about?
What are we allowed to say?
Okay, well, you're right. So the story is about 2 women that are con women, and they end up conning the wrong person, and bad things ensue. So we'll say that. So there's a little context of what it is, but now continue.
Yes, and I just felt that my character was just, again, so complex. You could just, even if it wasn't on the page, her backstory, I could really dive in and just make those decisions and be like, oh, this might have happened to her. And and I love doing prep. It's to like an obsessive point. And a lot of the offers I might get now are like the wife of, daughter of, girlfriend of. And I'm just like, yes, that's fine. But I just need a bit more complexity.
You want meat.
I want meat. Oh my God, every actor wants meat.
Yes,
you know what I mean? They just want something that makes them feel alive. And also, I do kind of try to find a way in. Like if there's something, it doesn't need to be super specific, but something that feels like me in there. And it can be as simple as she's queer, or she's from this area, or she has this background. I'm like, oh, like that's me. And I can find myself in those characters, and that gets really exciting. I'm like, oh, this is mine. No one else can have this.
I remember we had early on, what I think is so cool about Lauren and some of my favorite relationships with actors is that thing from our first meeting to the first day of photography, watching the script evolve through your thoughts and our conversations. You know, very early on in the script, your basically partner was a guy. And I was like, I think it'd be so much cooler if it was a girl, because I haven't seen this. And I remember like all these conversations that we had kept making the script better and better and better and better. And the writers who, you know, I'm always worried about how a writer is going to take something when you're changing what their thing is. And I think that they were so excited because we felt that it was getting more real. It was becoming less character-y, meaning like they were becoming less cliched. And by the time that we actually started filming, it felt real. It didn't feel like we were doing a script. And I'm excited for people to see you in it. One of the things she was talking about prep work, she plays numerous people. Every con is a new person, a new look, a new accent. And she came in like with these accents that were just on point. It was awesome. And I think it's a really fun role for people to see you in, because it is vastly different than what I've seen you play before.
Absolutely. And I think that's what I look for as well.
Something
different. And also because we did connect, you were right. We did connect prior to, like very briefly prior to when we started working together. And I had been a fan for a long time. And I think I was already kind of biased when I knew that Darren was attached. I'm like, okay, like I feel like I'm already gonna do this. Like before I even read the script, I was like, okay, this is probably gonna happen. But then I read the script and I was like, oh, I have to do this. And even I remember one of my agents was like, why? Why do you want to do this? He was just curious. And I was just like, you don't understand. Like, I need this role. Like, I need to bring this woman to life. And she just felt so cool. And everybody surrounding her felt cool. That's another thing. Other characters, relationships are really important to me. And what could happen between those people, the potential is something I really look for as well.
Well, the thing that where I knew that this was going to be, I think, in my mind, a good film, was your chemistry with Mia Healy. She plays a character called Smith. And they are these con women. And I think an early inspiration for me, a little bit Thelma and Louise bound. I wanted to make it a lesbian crime drama, and I wanted it to feel like the first act was this two badass bitches doing con after con. And so the first act feels very much like an Ocean's 11. It's very crimey. And then as each act progresses, we get darker and darker until it becomes a batshit out of the box horror film. But the chemistry in this, because one of the big things that I think that we also bonded on was I didn't want the movie to feel exploitative. And I think it's very easy when you have two very attractive actresses and they're lesbians to have it feel exploitative. And so we really wanted to make it feel real and to make it feel cool without it making feel over the top. And I'll give you just one example of that, which was an ongoing conversation. There's a scene where they jump into a pool, and I was like, this could come across very Skinamax 1990 if not done right. And so had this idea, what if they're clothed? What if they're wearing these long drapey cloth as they go in? And I remember it was a huge fight with the producers, because obviously producer's job is to sell tickets.
And sex sells.
And sex sells. And so they have two very beautiful actresses, and I'm sitting there literally screaming, no, this is sexier than that.
And you're right.
It is. And I remember I had the same issue going into Saw 3 where there was a scene where I freeze a naked woman. And I remember I got in a big fight with the MPAA, and they kept giving me the NC-17. And they said, we would like you to, and I think at the time they wanted us to paint on or digitally put on a bikini of some sort. And I was like, that is sexy. Like, to me, that becomes sexual. And when she's naked like this, there's no sexiness to it whatsoever. It becomes upsetting. And I felt the same thing with this. The minute you put them in a bikini or swimsuit, it just becomes boring. Yeah. And so there's this great sequence you'll see in the movie where they're in this long flowing drapery as they go into the pool, and you can see it kind of like moving around the pool.
I love that.
Yeah, it's really cool. And so there is a lot of these moments that we would just talk more than just the words on the page, but how we shoot them, what they're wearing. There's another scene. I didn't even realize this until recently, and it was a choice the costume designer made. The scene in the hotel room that you and Smith are wearing the top and bottom of pajamas. Mm-hmm. So one of them has the top on, one has the bottom on. And when you look at it, you realize, oh, they're wearing the one full thing together. It was really cool.
Can I say really quickly, because it was something I really appreciated working, because you're right, it's very easily, it can become exploitative with two women. And I think with queer women, they're often, fetishized and sexualized, and it's an unfortunate thing. But we felt so safe with Darren because he made it more of an artistic endeavor and made it more about the connection and the love between these two people, as opposed to it being about sex, which so often happens in media between queer women. And I just wanted to, because it was really important to me and Mia, of course, like we spoke about it frequently, that we just felt so safe and we felt like we could really explore the love these two women had, and without it being, again, exploitative.
Oh, I love that. That's really great. Well, Darren, I appreciate you as a friend. That makes me very happy to hear.
Thank you.
So if I could just, you just explained what you look for in a script. Mm-hmm. And you also said that you're always looking for something a little bit different. Mm-hmm. Are there genres that you are really excited to explore that you haven't had a chance yet for? And what are those things?
Yes.
All right, good.
I know the answer to this one.
Tell me. I want to see if you know me well.
Okay, I'll tell you. She is a badass martial artist, badass action. To quote my daughter, she's sassy. I was completely blown away by a 10-year-old YouTube video of her boxing and then doing martial arts. So I saw you box first, and I was like, "Damn,
that's so aged."
I don't want to get in a fight with her. And then I saw the martial art one, and I was like, "Oh shit, she would literally kick my ass,
lay you out."
So I don't know if this is necessarily what she wants to do, but I want to see you in a Rush Hour badass movie like that.
You're right. You're correct. Rush Hour was it inspired me to get into acting. Like Jackie Chan. Bruce Lee, Jackie Chan, Michelle Yeoh, but also like on the other side of that, Lucille Ball is a huge inspiration for me. But Jackie Chan, like he is such an underrated actor, by the way. Like
and
it's not even his first language. His comedic timing is so spot on. He plays the innocence of a foreigner so beautifully and hysterically, and he's just an incredible martial artist, stunt performer, and I am actually in the middle of writing something Rush Hour-y with two women.
Sweet. I love that.
Yeah.
Wait, before you go on, I have to let everyone know that I just showed, it was like a rite of passage. I just showed my son Drunken Master with Jackie Chan. Now, but here's the best part is when I first downloaded it, it was English overdubbed. And I was like, nope, I'm not doing that. And then I had to seek out, and I eventually bought the Blu-ray out of the country of the original language, because I was like, nope, if you're going to watch this movie, you need to see it how it was originally intended.
You should have called me, because I own all of Jackie Chan's DVDs, and I am the one person sitting at this table that's a member of the Jackie Chan fan club. Yes. Oh my God. Yeah.
I got so excited that I pulled out my straw.
No, Super Cop's one of my favorite movies, and not only that, but about 15 years ago, I had a project with Michelle Yeoh and Billy Crystal that never materialized, but I got to hang out with Gail Ann Hurd as the producer, Michelle Yeoh as the star, Billy Crystal as the star, and we had 3 or 4 meetings where we were breaking story. And Michelle Yeoh is one of the coolest, kindest, nicest. And the other thing is you don't expect her to have this very, very like English accent, and that it's great.
Yeah.
She's amazing.
I just realized that my jacket from 2002 has shoulder pads in it. I just realized, like, why are my shoulders like this?
I thought that was from 90210 or something like that.
I thought that was from you lifting.
It is. It's all that. This literally is jacket is from 2006, and I just wanted to do a little festive, a little skull stuff. I'm gonna take it off. 'Cause it's kind of hot.
But it looks good though.
No,
It had its moment, and that's what matters.
It had its moment. So was I right? Is it action?
You are correct, and comedy.
All right.
Comedy is certainly, like I said, Lucille Ball is a huge inspiration. to me.
Okay.
But also just like dramatic things in general. Like I really love Kill Bill, and I want my Uma Thurman moment at some point. But of course, that's also an action inspired. But there's something dramatic about it, and also very cinematically dramatic, which is fun. It feels like self-aware.
Yeah.
We were talking about something earlier on about when you're reading a script and you are considering a movie to actually do that film. What are some things that just immediately turn you off, where you're like, yeah, no? Or things that make you say, absolutely this? Because I think one of Josh, I think to me as a filmmaker, one of the hardest obstacles and the biggest catch-22 on any movie getting made is it's a kiss of death, is attaching the actor. When we're making a movie on a budget, which Josh and I are going to be doing, it's critical for us that we need the actor to read it and say, fuck, I got to do that movie. So what is it for you that when you read something, you're like, absolutely, or immediately says, yeah, no, I'm not touching that?
There are certain, I don't know if I should say this, but there are certain actors that I love. And there are certain actors that I don't want to work with. Maybe because we just don't align in areas of our lives. And I actually got something yesterday that was sent to me, and I immediately passed before even really reading it because I saw that a specific actor was attached. I won't say who. But yes, other things, I don't really like a sexual assault in movies, especially, again, if it's exploitative. I think it can be done. I think the unfortunate truth is for women and femme-presenting people, and men as well, sexual assault is a reality. And it can be done in a way that spreads awareness, but I think some of it is a bit exploitative for my taste that I don't really like. We've spoken about Irreversible, which I actually really love that movie, but that specific scene, if you've seen it,
It still haunts me.
it still haunts me. And Monica Bellucci is the love of my life, so I didn't want to see her in that situation. So yes, that is one thing that will turn me off.
Alright, I'm sorry to cut in like this, but we need your help. If you're enjoying Darren and Josh Make a Movie, hit that like button. Trust us, it really helps. And if you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe so you don't miss any of the madness we're brewing. And hey, while you're at it, leave us a comment. We want to know what you think. Follow our socials at DJ Make a Movie across all platforms. Come join the dark side. We'd love to have you with us. Your support is what keeps the lights on and keeps the monsters at bay. Thanks for being a part of this twisted journey with us, and let's make a movie together.
A question for you, Lauren, is, I don't think I can overstate this, but you have become very quickly one of the premier iconic final girls. And so much so that when I have meetings, and I know that Josh, you mentioned recently that you had a meeting, and they said,
I had a meeting in Lionsgate.
And what did they call it? What did they say? They said
they wanted a Lauren LaVera type. And they were just like, when we were talking about the project, that's who they wanted. And it used to be, when I was in those meetings, it always changes. The last big one was Jenna Ortega.
Sure.
But now it's you, which is...
So I'm right here. Like, why? I am my own type, I think. Yes. Have I changed? I don't know. That's so funny.
But look, you're in a coffee shop, and a character that you embodied and brought to life is a drink that you can order here. That I believe, Josh, you are enjoying over there. Or was that Morgan? Someone is enjoying. Okay.
I've got the Clown Killer.
So I find something like this like a piece of dynamite, and it happened to me after Saw 2 and 3. So Saw 2 and 3 comes out, number 1. I get the same movie sent to me again and again and again. It's very much in that same world, in that same ballpark. And I get scared because I realize the fandom that I have with those movies, and I could fuck it all up by doing this. You are one of the ultimate final girls. And I think why, in my outside opinion, is you never play the victim. And I think that even in Monster, you don't play the victim. You're a badass. And having a daughter myself, these are the type of characters that I really respond to, is you want to see, people put in horrible situations, but not playing the victim and fighting every step of the way. When a script comes to you now, knowing the pedigree that you have, what do you look for to, and are you scared of doing a movie that might be less than a Terrifier 2?
Yes, it sounds terrible to say less than, right? Because like art is so subjective. However, I am kind of veering away from the offers that I've been getting that are, similar to Sienna. And I love Sienna, but I just feel like I would get into a creative rut and I wouldn't stretch myself in ways that would, just as a creative, that you want to do. And also I would just get bored. I need roles that are different enough. Like obviously if they're similar, that's fine, but there needs to be some defining factor that makes this woman or person something I haven't seen before, something I have never done before, and I'll find my way in some way, hopefully. I don't know. It's hard to articulate.
Can I ask a follow-up question to that?
Yeah.
How do I get your attention in 5 minutes in a script? Meaning that you get a lot of scripts sent to you. Mm-hmm. I have a hard time getting through scripts.
Sure.
It could take me sometimes days. I'll just put them down. Is there anything that you've noticed that immediately you have to continue? You're like, holy shit. Are those things in scripts that you are like, oh my God, and it forces you to keep going as an actress?
Yeah, that's such a good question because I will get through every script I am given. Just as like as a discipline. I'm like, even if I'm not connecting, I'm like, I have to finish it now. I already started. But when it's clever, I love, what I love to see, this is a bad example, but like the Black Swan, right? Let's talk about the Black Swan for a second. Like Nina's character, who of course is played by the lovely Natalie Portman. If we remember her, she was very like mousy, very quiet, very like, kind of like a little girl. Her name's Nina, which means little girl.
Little, yeah.
And also like Vincent Cassel, we were talking about Irreversible before.
Yeah.
His character, I think his last name was Leroy, which means the king. And he's if you remember the scenes they had together, that power dynamic, like I that really caught me. I was like, oh, this is clever writing. Like they really put thought into this. It's stuff like that. When I know that like a lot of thought's been put into it. It doesn't always need to be the characters' names mean something, but I know I get a sense of these relationships just through the writing. Like if it's written so well, you can't put it down. And that's so subjective, right? Like it's terrible to say like it's got to be written well, but like we know what a good script looks like. It's you can't put it down.
You should read Good Luck Chuck, the screenplay.
You know what? I've heard of this movie. I've seen this movie many times, and I really enjoyed it. I don't know what Darren thinks.
All right, I've got a question that I'm dying to ask. So, having worked on the last few Saw films, I was lucky enough to work with Tobin Bell, and when he shows up at set, his script looks like it had gone through a wood chipper, and there's not a white space on the entire script because he's constantly taking notes. Tobin, I love you if you're listening to this. You are my hero when it comes to that. But it's so well thought out. What's your preparation as you're approaching a character? Are you thinking about specific lines? Are you working on a voice? Are you working on a walk? Are you locking in because of the costumes? What is your process?
That's a great question. And you know what? It's ever evolving. And I'm finding my process as I go. Anthony Hopkins is one of my favorite actors of all time, and he is notorious for reading scripts hundreds of times. And I've done that. For Terrifier 2, I read the script hundreds of times. Terrifier 3, I didn't do that, and it was weird because I felt like that it worked better for me when I didn't read it as often. However, the thing I do now, and script analysis, I think, is the most important part when you're diving into a character, no matter how much or how little work. And sometimes little work works for actors. It's not my business to judge. But I've learned this from one of my coaches, and I go line by line. So I'll read like interior, exterior, where we're at. Let's say interior, horror vibes, coffee shop, night. And I'm like, okay, what happens in a coffee shop at night?
Right.
And who could be in here? And who am I talking to? And like, you answer these questions and you try to come to conclusions your first read through, because that's the only time you'll have that opinion. The more you read it, your opinion will evolve.
Oh, that's really interesting.
So
I didn't think about that. Yeah.
Yeah, because only you can have your own opinion.
Right.
And that's what sets us apart as actors. It's our only superpower.
Yeah.
No matter who would attach themselves to this role. And I write it all down. And I think Nicole Kidman has said this, and I think she actually learned that from Stanley Kubrick.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I think
I'm
pretty sure, and I'll feel like an asshole if I'm wrong, but she said, yeah, you write everything down the first read through because you'll never have that opinion again. So I'm curious if Tobin Bell does that as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do that. I write subtext. I write my my scene partner subtext. Like I'm pretty crazy when it comes to my prep work, and I also do bios. And
cool! I love that. That's great. Well, I do bios as a writer, so
I love
and
that.
I'll usually ask the actor, or I'll ask the director if it's okay to ask the actor if they want that material or whether they want to come up with it themselves. But I'm a big fan of that. Like, I think that it just helps find the characters, the voice, everything.
Yeah.
To give a little insight, I remember, and one of the things that's always awkward for me is that I look at a script completely differently than the DP looks at a script or the actor looks at a script. And there were times that you would call me and ask me a question, and I would just go completely blank. And I was like, she's uncovered more than I have. And I think that's the best thing about when you work with good actors is that they are the expert of that character. In her case, Paloma. I wasn't, she was.
Yeah.
So it was interesting because there was a couple of times that you would call me and say, I'm really confused. And I would realize you would have found a plot hole that I had no idea even existed in the script. Tobin does that as well, because Tobin won't say a line that isn't 100% authentic. And he will write, he might have 5 words. I made a movie with him called Cello, and he maybe had 25 lines in the movie, but he had a notebook full of what every one of those 25 lines meant, why he was saying it the way he was. And I think that is, you can tell when an actor does that type of homework and brings in something that I don't know. A follow-up to that is one of the best, I want to say writing advices, but also directing advices came from Chris Rock on the set of Spiral. He would look at some things and say, I can't say that. I'm not saying that. And he would say that, no, I can never sound like I'm saying something or thinking something for the first time. And he said that these are thoughts that I've had. These are conversations that I've had a million times. So if you're going to try to give me exposition, I've had to have said this 1,000 times. So I'm going to re-say this exposition in a way that I've already said this 1,000 times, not like I have for the first time. I'm going to say this to you. And I thought that was a really interesting way that characters should not be having conversations as if it's the first time they're thinking this. It could be the first time they're meeting, but they've both thought of this before, whatever that thing is, what the response is going to be and whatever that person's going to say. And I thought that was a unique thing to hear from an actor standpoint.
Yeah.
That's what I love about it. I think actors have such different perspectives. I won't say who, but I worked with an actor yesterday who I love and respect, and they were telling me that their prop has evolved, because I ask every actor, I'm like, what do you do? Because I'm trying to figure it out.
Yeah,
and they were like, I've also have tried opposite to that. So it's interesting. Like, I'll memorize the lines and I won't say them out loud until I get on set for the first time. And that's ballsy.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't know if I'm at that point yet where I can do that, but like, I respect it.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. I've got a kind of a funny story going back to you getting a phone call from an actor. I was on the set of Piranha 3D, and Alex Aja he's an incredible filmmaker. But we didn't have the same relationship that I have with Darren, where I think Darren would not he wasn't uncomfortable when I went up to Chris Rock and we talked character and lines and all that kind of stuff because we had been in the trenches for so long on the script together. But Alex and I didn't have that same relationship. So at one point I'm sitting around on set and Ving Rhames comes up to me and he's like, "Hey Josh, can I talk to you about this scene? I need to understand something about the character that he was trying to find in his performance." And it was really awkward because I, as the screenwriter, if I had given him that information and then he went up to Alex and said, "Yeah, I was talking to Josh about the character and he said this," I would have been thrown off the set.
Yeah.
So I had to I had to try my best to say to Ving, "Well, I think you should talk to Alex about that. I think maybe he has some ideas about that." But yeah. Again, and one of the things that I'm excited about for our audience, our listeners, our crew, the people that we're working with on this film, is they're going to get to see that interaction between with the script between me and Darren. Darren's a writer. He's a great writer. And what I always look forward. The great thing about being a writer on something like this is if you write a line and the director comes in and changes it, or even another writer comes in and changes it, you get credit for that if it's a great line. So I'm willing. I'll take a line from a craft service person if it's great. I'm going to use it and I'll take credit for it. So yeah.
Do you ever, Josh, see a scene that you've written and had a vision in your head and then saw the actors do it and it's totally different than what you were thinking and elevated? And because there were scenes, and I can think of an example in every movie that I had a vision for what the scene was going to be, and then when I see them on set and I'm like, holy shit, that is so much better than I would have thought.
Yeah, I think that's I'm praying every scene is like that. Like if the words on the page, the scripts, the dialogue, all of that, it's on a flat surface. It doesn't, it's inanimate. It doesn't have an emotion or nothing behind it. I mean, I've thought about those lines 100 times and I've said them in my head 100 times. And I've even had friends, actors, my wife's an actress, so I bring her in and have her read every single part for me so that I can hear it out loud. But when I step onto a set or if I see the finished film, I'm praying that it's better than I ever imagined. So yeah, 100%, I'd love that.
Right. Can I ask you both a question then?
Please.
Since we're on this topic, and I think every actor would want to hear this, because you both have, done so much so you can kind of use your brains in every capacity. So how do you feel when an actor changes a line or, because I feel like so many actors feel like it's a guideline for sure, but they feel like, oh, I need to say everything verbatim, how it's written, every stage direction needs to be like at a certain time. So how do you feel when it gets changed?
I'll let you start, and I've got a pretty good answer for that too.
I think one of our first podcasts we said we're going to throw Molotov cocktails on bridges here and piss some people off. I'm trying to decide if I want to piss people off this soon. I worked with an actress that was so ill-prepared. And it was the one time on a set that I didn't look forward to getting up in the morning because I knew it was going to be a nightmare. And it was this constant thing of me trying to explain to her what the scene was and what the movie was. And so much of the day was ruined in this trying to convince her why to say the lines that she was saying. She it would come in every day about the second weekend, just rewrote everything. And things that it's a house of cards. And I think specifically when you make a movie that relies on twists, relies on specific words, by her changing what she might think is a nothing thing, pays off to a twist later. And
well, we had that exact same problem on the set of Spiral, and this is not a criticism of Max. He's one of the best. We just finished watching Handmaid's Tale. He's an incredible actor, but there was one line that he was having a really hard time wrapping his mind around. But that particular line was tied directly. in the Saw films, there's always this moment at the end where we do a flashback and everything, all of the puzzle pieces come together. And if he didn't say the line exactly the way it was written, we couldn't use it in the flashback montage. And there was a lot of discussions going back and forth. And I love Max, and he stuck to his guns, and we figured out a way to make it work. But that can be a real problem.
Sure.
I think, though, maybe a better answer to that is you always want to give actors the freedom and flexibility to do what they do. And like you bring them in to hopefully elevate the material and make the film better, and do what you did, which is call out plot holes and say, wait, this doesn't make sense. Is this a mistake? But at the same time, there's the other side of that, which is a director who is theoretically steering the ship. Having that idea of where we have to go to. I know that we have to go from this port to this port. And to get to this port, these things have to happen. And, one small change here, it's death by 1,000 paper cuts.
Yeah.
And I think that it changes by actor. Sometimes they can change every single line and it doesn't matter. Other times, they change 10 lines and it makes a big difference.
Yes. Well, when I'm directing also, I try to get the actor to say the words that are on the page.
Right.
And then give them freedom to do anything they want if they're not feeling it. Some really great actors will bomb the lines in the script on purpose just to get, like, I've seen that happen. It's sneaky,
I've
and
seen it happen
they definitely do that.
Yeah.
But like we were just making fun of Good Luck Chuck, which again, to be very, very clear. I've made more money in residuals from Good Luck Chuck than any movie I've ever written.
So have I on 11/11, which is the worst film I've done. I know.
Yes.
I know.
But in that film, we were having, I was having some craziness because Dane Cook, who was the star at the time, he was a huge.
I remember.
He's a funny dude, and he was making a comedy. And I think one of the problems with making a comedy is sometimes actors, they say the line 20 times in rehearsal, in read-throughs, in practicing, and then they lose faith that the line is good anymore. So then they feel the need to change it, and they usually change it on the set. Sometimes it can be magical and amazing. Someone like Jason Mantzoukas, who I worked with, he changed almost every line in the script that I did conception, and every line was better than anything that I wrote. But then one of the problems with Good Luck Chuck was Dane and Jessica, who I adore both of them, and I'm still very, very good friends with all of them, they would kind of go off script sometimes, but they were changing elements of the plot. So then I was in the trailer that night rewriting tomorrow's scenes in order to make it fit in with the changes they made. It's crazy.
Well, I'm going to give a bigger clue of who this person is, and this is where I'm going to get canceled. The movie was foreign, and so the people that were in the scene with her were speaking in a different language. They learned their words phonetically, what she was saying phonetically, which meant they rehearsed by knowing what she was going to say. So when she changed the words, the people that were there didn't know when to say their lines. And so it created such a fucking nightmare for us on set, because we're now trying to make a day and you have 10 hours or whatever once the actors show up to do this, and trying to explain, okay, this is actually what it was a nightmare on something like that.
Wow.
Josh, what other questions do you have before I'm seeing it get dark outside and she has to walk home. Yeah. So it's
I've got a couple just easy curve, no curveballs, easy right down the plate. Your favorite few actors, the ones that you really, really look up to. You mentioned Angelina Jolie a second ago.
Yes.
Lucille Ball.
Lucille Ball. What are some current contemporary actors that you feel like, oh God, I just have to work with that person?
Oh, contemporary. I guess what constitutes as contemporary? Because some of them are
somebody that you could be in a movie with
right now.
So, yes.
Sally Field. I know. She is one of my biggest inspirations. I saw her in Sybil. Have you seen Sybil?
Oh,
I saw it in a psychology class in high school, and it was just for a psychology study, and I was so impressed. What do I look for in a script? I look for that, like playing different characters, and she is such a great example of going against the grain, because Sally Field, if I hopefully I'm not screwing up her story, but she was known for so long as the flying nun. And she was typecast and no one would take her seriously. So she really had to fight for different roles. And now we know her for like Steel Magnolias, and we know her for Sybil, maybe not as many people know her for, but she's just done so much since then. Anthony Hopkins.
Okay. Yeah.
Huge inspiration to me. Who else? Oh my God, there's so many. Some more contemporary, like Florence Pugh, I absolutely adore. I think any actor looks up to Florence Pugh now, which is so funny because she's so young and she feels like she's been on the scene forever. And to her credit, she has been acting for a good amount of time. I think almost a decade or maybe even.
Have you seen the miniseries she did?
Oh, but from the 70s?
Oh yeah, but it was a remake of the Little Drummer Girl. Did you see that?
Yes.
She's
amazing.
She's
incredible.
Stellar. Yeah, it's incredible. Yeah.
Incredible. Toni Collette.
Okay.
Which feels like the same vein as Florence Pugh. I don't know, maybe because they're both iconic scream queens. Gosh, I don't know. I mean, Jackie Chan, I know I said, but I still, I know it seems, but I think he's a wonderful
You know I'm going to go home and write Rush Hour 5 with you and Jackie.
No idea.
And then I go to one of his signings from the Jackie Chan fan club. I'll give him the script and I'll say,
But at the same time, Chris Tucker, he was, and it's so unfortunate that we don't see him as much anymore. And I forget if it's because of religious beliefs, like he doesn't work as much. I forget what his reasoning is.
Him in The Fifth Element is one of my favorite.
My God.
yeah, he's great in that.
So good. I mean, I could be listing actors for hours, but I guess those are the main. Viola Davis, Meryl Streep. I mean, come on, these are cliche now. These are just like every actor wants to work with, just anybody. But like even working with Jaimin, though, I was shitting myself. I was like, oh my God, don't fuck this up. Don't fuck this up. Be here for him. Make sure you are just, everything he needs in this scene. Like listen to what he's saying. Don't get like distracted. I was just so incredibly. I was over the moon. But
amazing. Absolutely amazing.
This is, there is a chance that Josh and I end up making a comedy or a musical, which a lot of fans want to see. Yeah. But it's going to be a horror film. So talking about horror films for a second, what is the first horror film that imprinted itself on you that you remember? It doesn't have to be your favorite horror film, but something that will stay with you forever as whether a place, a time, something that disgusted you, scared you. What is that first film that really imprinted itself on you horror-wise?
Poltergeist. It was the very first film I've ever seen. My mom had me watch it. And what's funny about my life is that my horror is very much ingrained. It's hereditary, which is funny. Very much ingrained in my family. My grandfather was a huge horror fan who inspired my mother to be, who inspired me to be. And that sparked my fear of clowns, like that freaking clown.
And clown's terrifying.
You're back in class.
It's kind of like a karmic justice for some. I don't know why that this has happened to me, and I don't like clowns. I don't like dolls. Hate dolls. Hate them, and I don't like clowns. Like they're both like. I hate them. I mean, other than that, like The Exorcist, like obviously, I think, and these are both horror films with performances that are stellar. Like if you think of, what's the name of the mother from Poltergeist?
I cannot think of her name right now.
I feel terrible not knowing her, but she's
incredible.
Incredible in that movie. Yeah. Incredible. I mean, both of the parents were, everybody really was. And if you think of The Exorcist as well, like everybody was just so.
Well, you know why is I think that there's different types of we've been having this discussion for the last few weeks about different subgenres of horror films, but I think to me, the ones that stick with me are when you can take the horror out of the performance and it still works.
Yes.
And on something like Exorcist with Ellen Burstyn or whoever, you have such an insanely great performance that if you remove all of the horror going on, it's still really fucking good.
Absolutely.
Rosemary's Baby, same thing. You take the horror out of it, it's still this really dynamic or Hereditary, this dysfunctional family. Remove the occult thing of Hereditary, and it's just amazing. I mean, Toni Collette's performance in that is just, I mean, it's mind blowing.
Yeah. Before we go, I just want to these little, if you can pan down, Addison, down here. We've been using these shirts as buffers for sound, for our sound equipment, but they were given to us by Fright Rags. This is a My Bloody Valentine t-shirt. And we've got another one, a
My first Necronomicon.
Yeah. So we're going to have Lauren sign these and sign a couple of her Fangorias. And we're going to, we'll give them away over the course of the next few weeks. But the first one we'll give away next week, and it will go to someone who writes a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. That's the algorithm we're trying to find.
As a new podcast, and we're 30 years behind everyone else. So much of us being put into the algorithm is based on interaction, is based on comments and likes and subscribes. So to quote my daughter, smash that like and subscribe button and be alerted. Any parting thoughts, Josh?
I just am so happy you were in town and I got to meet you, and I'm
wait until you see her.
excited.
Wait until you see her, and it might be called Twisted or Monster. We don't know yet. I am, just getting to be in Toronto this last week and see the finished film with the visual effects and the score. It is awesome. Yeah. And it is the mixer said this. The mixer Rudy said it's exhausting to watch you, because the amount of shit that you go through in that film, it is, you need a nap.
Yeah. And I was talking to the producer, Mark Berg, and he was saying he thought it was one of your best. So,
great actors, great script.
Great directors, great script.
Great producers.
Great producers.
Yeah.
Well, Lauren, thank you very much for joining us. I appreciate the great coffee shop here letting us come in. And
thank you, Horror Vibes. This was awesome.
Horror Vibes on Lancashire. If you're in town, please come check it out. And hurry up and get Terrifier 4 off the ground, please, because as my horror fanboy, again, I'm a fan before a director. I want to see that.
I've been hounding Damien. It's not up to me, but I'll continue to do so. I love doing it. I love hounding him. I'll text me like, "What you doing? You up?"
A parting question before we leave: if you can be in any other horror franchise, what would it be?
Oh my God! You know what? This is tough because I'm such a fan, like you guys, and I fear that if I were to be in these franchises that I love so much, I would stop watching them. And because I don't like seeing myself, like it's like a visceral reaction, like I want to throw up. So many. I certainly wouldn't mind being a part of the Saw franchise. Evil Dead, it's right in front of me. Yeah. I really love, and Evil Dead 2 is one of my favorites. And I really love the newer ones. Like, I talk about this a lot, but the Evil Dead from 2013, I really thought that Jane Levy, she might be one of my favorite final girls of all time, because she gets to play the baddie. Talk about looking for something in scripts. Like, that's a complex character. She can play the goodie, the baddie. She was hilarious. Yeah. And also, I had a thought when you were talking about Toni Collette and just those wonderful performances. When you take the horror out, that's another thing I look for in scripts, not necessarily for horror, but something that is relevant to today, or just issues of today. It doesn't need to be in your face, but when I feel like something's being discussed, like something, it maybe politically or socially, I'm like, oh, okay, like this is a story that needs to be told, because maybe it'll help someone. Yeah. Maybe it'll open some eyes. Like, that's why I got into this business, to like hopefully help people feel less alone, and also help people feel represented, and also maybe help people just open their eyes to other lives.
I love that. That's really nice. Yeah.
That's where
really nice.
That is as I'm trying to figure out myself the movie we should make. One of the movies that have always, and we've talked about it, I think, on every episode now, why I wanted to make musicals, was Rocky Horror Picture Show. For me, allowed me to feel it's okay to be different. It's okay if the clothes that I wear is not for everyone else. It's okay to be, out of the box. And I think that any movie that kind of pushes itself towards that, I love. And so I don't want to say it as a message, but it basically, Rocky Horror Picture Show created a community around the movie. And there's a few movies that have done that. The Room did it. I mean, for a different reason. But I want that audience thing. I want when the people see the movie, and I felt it in Terrifier when I saw Terrifier in the theaters. You have a camaraderie and an electric energy in the audience, because you put like-minded weirdos in the same environment. In that case, it was this glory-based violence and gore unlike we'd ever seen, and it was unapologetic, and it was awesome, and you had people cheering and applauding and high-fiving. I felt the same way in Rocky about it's okay to cross-dress and put makeup on and sing songs loudly, and I felt that electric energy in a theater. And I think that one of the things that I really want to do with whatever we make, Josh, is have that audience experience. Because something like Hereditary, which is one of my favorite movies, it's silent in that theater. You watch it, and I remember it's a gut punch and it's silence in the very end. And that is my favorite type of movie to go watch, not necessarily my favorite type of movie that I want to make.
Yeah.
And I think that I want to do something that the audience is just cheering and having a moment with us for that 90 minutes that we have them.
Love it.
Well,
Awesome.
Lauren, thank you very much. Thank you for being here.
Guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Cut, Casper. That's a wrap.